Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to one more episode of Code Side Story. It's a pretty wet and rainy day, and also it's Diwali, so you'll probably hear some crackers and stuff in the background. But that adds to the ambience and the atmosphere and shit. Uh, but if you're a basketball fan and you're on social media, and you would have seen in the past few days. You would have seen Scottie Pippen's comments and just generally about the kind of weird relationship that Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan have. So without getting into all that drama, I thought that when I looked at it on the internet, it seemed like a very polarizing thing. People are either in support of Scottie and talking about how he's like very overshadowed, he's a great player who just had to live under the shadow of Michael Jordan, or people saying that Scottie is completely overrated, who never would have done anything without Michael Jordan. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about like an objective view. I mean, not an objective view, but I want to talk about Scottie Pippen's career. He's actually a very interesting player. So
Bro, before we get right into his career, I want to ask you something, just like get your take off the bat.
yeah, sure.
Uh, do you think the Last Dance actually portrayed Scotty in a negative light?
No, actually, I was watching some clips, right? And I actually don't think so. Like, I think Jordan gave him the right,
Fucking same.
yeah, it was the right credit, dude. He said a lot of good shit about Scotty. He's like, fuck, like, if you look at it, like, I never won without Scotty. Like, if my name is ever mentioned, it should be mentioned right along with Scotty Pippen. And Scotty is being kind of like, I understand.
This is the best part. This is the best part.
Yeah.
So, throughout this whole debacle of Scotty going on social media and chatting shit about MJ, I've just
Yeah.
been wondering what is Scotty's problem?
Bro, no,
I
see,
can't understand for the
no,
life of
this is
me.
the thing. I do kind of understand where Scotty's coming from because, like, firstly, the man was severely underpaid throughout his bull stint, right? Like, he earned less, like, he earned such little money compared to a lot of other players who, like, he was better than, right? And he was, like, you could statistically prove that this guy is, like, one of the best players in the league. He was an MVP candidate and all that. He was earning, like, fucking 2.53 million a year, right? Like it was a 6 year, $18 million contract or some shit. Michael Jordan's out here earning like 33 million. He's like killing it in shoes and stuff. And like
Hmm.
Scotty has reasons, and I can see where he's coming from. And even now, people like so apparently in the like when NBA released their top 50 list for the 50th anniversary, Scotty was in that list, right? And even then, people are like arguing, like and talking about whether Scotty should be in that list or be like up there along with those names or not. So like he is like people do always question Scotty's ability and Scotty's greatness. So
So,
I
do
can
you think he belonged on that 97 list of top 50, which the NBA initially announced?
100% dude, 100% because like
100%, dude.
so we see like the duo of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, right? And they're like I feel like they represent two schools of basketball that we see very dominant players like who are like Scottie Pippen, and they're obviously very different from players like Michael Jordan, right? I genuinely think it is possibly easier to find like a player like Michael Jordan than it is to find a player like Scottie Pippen, right? Michael was obviously greatest at what he did, like best scorer
That's
ever
a
and all that.
fucking interesting point. Like, that's a fucking interesting point. Like, there's not a lot of players I can name who play basketball like Scottie Pippen. And, like, I also think Pip is, like, at the end of the day, one of the best small forwards to ever play. Like, you have the Larry Birds, you have the LeBron James, you have the Dr. J's. And I
Yeah.
think right after that, you have the Scottie Pippen. So, like, we were talking about top 50. He did also make the NBA top 75, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
75th anniversary list right now.
As he deserves to
And
be, dude.
I think just like Scotty is undoubtedly, dude, undoubtedly. Like, I think all the questions we've raised about Scotty are from a standpoint of the last dance, not about like him as a
Yeah,
player.
exactly.
That is what I think we
Which
can
is why
all
he's pissed
agree
about
against
it.
him.
Like
Yeah, yeah. No, I get it,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. He kind of blames Michael also, like, because
so
he's like, fuck, this is the guy, this is who I like came behind. This is why he's the reason people question my greatness in a way. But
no,
that's
so
speculation at the end.
to me, this is where it gets nuts because yeah, that is speculation. But to me, it's also nuts because see, at the end of the day, yeah, I get it. Like Mike didn't win anything without Scotty, but like that team was never even going to get to the finals without Michael Jordan. Like they
Yeah.
literally had one of the
Yes.
greatest players ever on the team.
Yes, so this is also like one thing like I have to mention about Scottie, right? Like Scottie was a guy who like had MVP like numbers, and he had like insane like he so in the years that Michael left, right? He led the Bulls in every statistical category in that I think 94-95
Yeah.
season. Yeah, and like he made a
Dude,
case.
very few players have done that. I think you have Giannis, you have Hakeem, you have a bunch of these dudes who
You have
did that, but there's
LeBron.
very few players who've done
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
LeBron. Yeah.
Yeah, so sorry, what were we talking about? Yeah, so like, but he wasn't a closer, is what I'm saying, right? Like in terms of
Yeah.
just being an unstoppable scorer when your team needs a bucket and like you need 100% shot, right? Like an offensive weapon, like I wouldn't like
He wasn't that
necessarily
dude.
exactly. So which is why like people all like say that about him and raise questions, and which is why he didn't have that much. Like he had an odd career after he left the Bulls, also, right? Like he joined the Rockets and like.
This is very interesting. Wait.
Hmm.
So I actually wanted to talk about this Rockets Blazers stint.
Ha ha
But
ha.
before we get right to that, one thing I wanted to say about Scotty is, dude, Scotty is arguably the best player to never win DPOY. Like best defensive
Yeah,
player, I mean, to never win DPOY, obviously. Like you have Tim Duncan, you have Scottie Pippen. I can't think of a lot of other dudes who didn't win the award and are up there in defense, like
KG
on
did
the level of
KG
these
did
dudes.
KG win a DPOY?
He has 2007-8 when they took the chip. Kevin Garnett was DPOY.
Lit. But wait, 2007-8 he was
So
DPOY.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, KG used DPOY in the
Yeah,
Celtics years.
yeah,
Yeah, fuck, that's mad. I'm gonna use that in KG Dirk, I guess. But
yeah.
like, so the thing is, dude, like the thing is with Scottie Pippen, right? This dude
Hmm.
is one of the best defensive players to like, be criminally underrated in that regard. But what's cool is, dude, we talk about Ben Simmons guarding multiple positions. Scottie
Yes.
can legitimately guard one through
Scotty,
four.
I think Scotty
Yeah,
actually.
which is
Hmm.
nuts.
And like I was watching Kobe also, right? Like he was talking about like in his detailed video, he was talking about how players coming into the league, they got to look at like if you want to be effective on the defensive end, if you want to be effective on both ends of the floor, you got to look at Scottie Pippen because that guy was actually a defense. Like he was a genius at defense and defensive IQ, and
Definitely.
I think Scotty is actually someone who probably revolutionized that small forward position, who showed you like obviously you had like a lot of players who were doing crazy stuff with small forward position, but Scotty showed you could play within like I feel like Scotty he played within the range of the offense. He played through the offense. He's one of those very high IQ players. I think that's one thing that we don't give him enough credit for. Scotty has an insane basketball IQ, right? He was the one, like in that triangle offense with Phil Jackson, like when they were running that, he was the one who facilitated it, the
Yeah.
top of the key, he was making those passes. So, and it's not easy for a small
Facts,
forward to
facts.
average like 5.56 assists, like on particular years. Yeah.
Dude, this point you made about like Scotty's IQ, right? What I really like is, so you look at when MJ went to play baseball, right? Like
Hmm.
right after they win their first repeat, MJ goes to play baseball. And
Yeah.
we're talking about how Scotty led the Bulls in all five statistical categories. Now,
Yeah.
you look at any other star in the history of the league, like Steph Curry without Klay Thompson,
Yeah.
or, Kobe on the Lakers when they had nobody, like after Shaq left. Those stars usually look to go out and score and score and score,
Hmm.
right? But what Scottie Pippen did when MJ was playing baseball is actually like insane. It's insane.
Exactly.
Like he came and he like took over the game on both ends of the floor, but he did it without having to have the ball in his hands all the time. And I
Yeah.
think that's one of the most unique superstar traits I have ever seen in basketball. That
Yeah.
ability to just like integrate yourself into the team, but still be the overwhelming star of that team.
Exactly.
And
You
the
are the
same thing
leading
that Michael
force.
Jordan, like, yeah, exactly. Like Scotty would have always been that leading force, even if they didn't have Mike. And to me, that's lit. Like, dude, imagine having the GOAT on your team. The GOAT leaves to go play baseball and used to make the Eastern
Hmm.
Conference final.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
That's
Hmm. Hmm.
absolutely batshit. Like, to me, that
Dude,
is insane.
yeah, because and one more thing that like I saw some like players saying about Scotty is one thing is that he doesn't really have any weaknesses. He can do everything.
Yeah,
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 you can't. And like with like a lot of teams, like their strategy was to cut off the head of the snake, right? Like take out your main player, but that doesn't work with a team like the Bulls because you have Scotty on that team, right? Like who are you going to take out? Like who are you going to focus your defense on? If you leave either guy open, then the whole floor opens up for everyone else. Right, like it's fucked. Like, which is why it's mental that those guys played together. Like it's as mental as Steph and KD playing together. Like two guys who are so good.
100%.
Yeah, at like such different like aspects of basketball or like ways
Yeah,
of
dude,
playing
like, so
basketball.
something that's damn cool to me about this is, everyone talks about like Mike Jordan, Air Jordan, his Ennis, all this bullshit, Jordan
Mm-hmm.
flying from the free throw line. But
Yeah,
Scottie Pippen has what I think might be the nastiest poster I've ever seen.
Patrick
On
Ewing.
and it's half on Patrick Ewing, the other half's on Spike Lee, bro.
Dude, yeah, and then he
Like,
walks over the guy. That's one of the most disrespectful dunks I've ever seen. You got to tech for that. You got to tech for it
it's
in the fucking 90s.
dude, it was arguably the best dunk ever, like flat out. And
Yeah,
I think people miss how athletic this dude was. Like, I mean, everyone's focusing on Mike, and I get it because like that's the highest leaper we've ever seen. But
yeah.
so you were talking about how Scotty has no weaknesses, right? Because
Mm.
okay, you look at Steph Curry, what are you gonna try to make him do? You're gonna try to make him take deep threes. You're gonna try to deny him the ball. You're gonna try to stick with him when he comes off screens, things like that, right? But
Exactly.
what do you
Yeah,
do
yeah.
about Scottie Pippen? Like Scottie
Yeah.
Pippen's biggest skill is that he's a tough motherfucker.
I was thinking, who does Scotty like remind you of in the modern day NBA? I think Jimmy Butler probably reminds me of him a little bit.
No, dude, that's a good pick, but I still don't take it because like I don't know, like I still think like sure, Jimmy Butler is a great pick, okay, but I think
Hmm.
the way I'd put it is Scotty is like a Giannis Kawhi hybrid, like in the
And a
sense
little bit of
like
LeBron
I
and
don't,
shit.
dude, it's nuts. So the thing is, we're finding it this hard to rank Scotty and like sort of define his abilities simply
Mm-hmm.
because Scottie Pippen always had Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
which influenced the way he played the game,
Hmm.
right? Like, so there was only that one season where we got to see Scotty star, but even that was
Exactly.
coming off a Michael Jordan three-peat, which had like
Yeah.
already influenced the way he played the game
If
and
you
it
let
made
him
him a
settle
elite
into
player
that
and all of
role,
that.
who knows what he could be?
Yeah, we never saw Scotty like play as a star, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
throughout the time that like he was there, he was used to being secondary star and he learned how like, how to execute, how to like
Hmm.
play with the team, shit
Yeah.
like that. So it makes me wonder maybe if Scotty like was left to start a franchise, like if someone
Hmm.
drafted Scotty at number one and just kept it, maybe he'd be like Kawhi, maybe he'd be like Giannis. Like, I think
Yeah.
that's the level of the dude.
That's what I think. Like with a great team
And
around him, like if Scottie Pippen was on like the current day Miami Heat, I think like they would wreck everyone in the league. I like, fuck, it would be an awesome sight to see. But
dude, I think Miami right now might anyway wreck everybody in the league.
yeah, but very possible. But yeah, Scottie Pippen, just like a monstrous motherfucker. Not given enough credit for like anything, like both offensively and defensively. He was like a juggernaut. Um,
Including his post Bulls career, including his
yeah,
post
yeah,
Bulls
yeah.
career, like when he was even on Portland
Portland.
and Houston.
He was monstrous. Like he in Portland also
Yeah,
didn't like he in Portland he had a more balanced team because in Houston he had like Charles Barkley and Hakeem who were both like coming out of their prime. They weren't playing as well, so like he also had that kind of like bad stint with them where things didn't really work out. But in Port, he played 3 seasons with Portland, right? And he played fucking amazing. Like, did he take them to the ECF? I don't know. I don't remember. But
they did the Western Conference, not the ECF. Yes,
sorry, yeah, the
the
Western
Western
Conference.
Conference final, dude. This was the famous Kobe to Shaq alley-oop
Exactly.
situation. Like
People always
that
diss
was one of
Scotty
the
for
best.
that situation, but that team won 59 games that year.
Like, how you gonna diss Scotty for Kobe throwing it to Shaq?
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
you
That's not
can
his
diss
fault.
any. Like, it's a miracle that shit went down in the first place.
Dude, and this is why Scotty's pissed also. It's shit like this that just makes him look bad. Makes him earn the bad rep that he has. Go off, Scotty. Go
Yeah, I
off.
think like there was there was that whole coach incident and all, and I get it. But
Hmm.
I get it, but I feel like people don't acknowledge like how convoluted Scotty's career and relationship with the franchise was. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
often
yeah.
that you see players being this seriously underpaid. Like I can't think of one modern example of player who is this seriously underpaid as Scotty was. And
Hmm.
I
Kind
think
of,
like
he was taken
like
advantage of because he didn't even have a good relationship with
yeah.
the Bulls front office. Like,
And dude,
he,
they literally exploited him. He was like
yeah,
broke. He needed the money for his family. They were in a tough place. And like literally the Bulls organization just like made the most of that and thought, oh, we
exactly.
can get
And
one of the
yeah,
biggest small forwards ever.
and they didn't like offer to renegotiate or anything after that. Like they wanted this guy to stay on for the like without his contract, without that.
The contrary, they insisted that you cannot renegotiate.
Yeah, yeah. Like without that contract, right? The Bulls dynasty doesn't happen. You can't have like all the guys, all the depth that you had without Scotty being like fucked in the ass. financially.
And
Uh,
I think we've discussed a lot of shit about Scotty's career and like about the situation right now. And
hmm.
I mean, just because we said all this good stuff does not mean we think that his claims about,
Yeah,
Jordan
yeah, yeah,
making him out to be nothing more than an accomplice and all are, solid or have any basis. We're not like necessarily on. He might just be saying all this to sell his book. It's called
yeah.
Unguarded, I think. Yeah,
Why
I'll
why you
definitely read
plugging
it.
his book on our podcast? We're not sponsored by Scotty.
I wish we were, but no. Like anyway, the thing is, I will read it now. Just like if nothing else, for all this nonsense. So I must say,
Uh-huh.
like at least on the marketing front, Scotty's killing it. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but we just thought he's a really interesting player to look at because Scotty is one of the toughest players to rank in league history, and just his style of basketball and like the way he crafted his career is so unique. So that pretty
Uh,
much covers it.
yeah, and
100%.
let's see what else Scotty has to say in future. It'll be quite entertaining. But with that, we'll sign off. Thanks, guys, for listening.
Unguarded.
Oh, yeah, yeah. See you.